minutes. Mike Gill's going to join us coming up in less than 15 minutes, and we'll talk to MG next. I remember the other thing I wanted to ask, or didn't necessarily agree with Marcus Hayes about, and that's Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles will be perfectly fine if they don't get a contract extension done this offseason. We all just flat out love Jalen Hurts and his attitude and the way that he goes about doing his business and the leadership that he shows with his football team. But unsigned on the last year of your rookie deal is a little bit different. And I'm not questioning Jalen's character a little bit. I'm just questioning human nature. I think we saw that this year with Lamar Jackson. I think he played a different game on the last year of his contract than he had on the previous years of his deal. It's just human nature that on the RPO, you're playing for, what's Jalen scheduled to make next year? About $2 million if he doesn't get an extension?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more. I think it spikes a little bit, but not a lot. I'll look it up real quick while you're talking.
You want to put him up in a comparison with what the other quarterbacks around the league are making? His level of play is compared to what his salary is, compared to the other quarterbacks in the league, it will be just flat out ugly how underpaid he is. You got that RPO read and you go, well, I can hand it off or I can keep it myself. And or that Bears linebacker who's the same speed, same size, who came down on him during a game this year. Oh, that could happen again, and I could miss games. You know full well that Jalen Hurts lost the MVP as soon as he went down against the Bears that game. So it cost him an MVP, maybe not cost him some money, but you don't want to go down that road again. So let me not pull the ball back. Let me just leave it in the running back's belly because, yeah, I don't really want to take another hit. That's not me questioning Jalen Hurts. That's just common sense. That's human nature. He might not even think. It might be Freudian in the back of his head. Let me give it to the running back. I don't really want to put myself at risk here. You start down that road, John, it could be a slippery one for the Philadelphia Eagles next year.
Yeah, it spikes to a massive $4.3 million.
So he's swimming in it next year.
So a little bit better on the last year of his year. But obviously, look, the Eagles are going to sign him to an extension. I mean, the only problem is, from a Lamar standpoint, is it going to be like, are you trying to soak every penny out of the Eagles and you want to bet on yourself because you're going to do that? I don't think he's going to go down that route. I think he's going to be somewhere in between. You mentioned the Deshaun Watson contract that everybody does, and understandably so. Every penny of that is guaranteed. So if everybody's looking for that deal, well, there's going to be some complications because nobody wants to do that. And that's why teams around the league were angry at Cleveland. Not go get the player, but and from Cleveland's standpoint, they'll say, well, we had to do that to get the player.
Right.
And they had to pay the certain tax. I called it the Jacksonville tax when they overpaid players. And now that Jacksonville's getting good, you don't have to do it. But when you're in a certain position, you have to go to certain levels. I think Jalen Hurts is open-minded enough to not go down that route, but that's the only way I think there's going to be any acrimony. I really do. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. The Eagles know his value. He knows his value. I think it's going to get done.
And I agree with you. We're on the same page with the entire league. Now, they better be careful on it because if not, they're going to get slapped with a collusion lawsuit if Cincinnati and the Eagles and the Chargers all try and hold the line on the guaranteed money thing because they don't want to do what the Cleveland Browns did. Just handle your P's and Q's and make sure you say what you say for public consumption in a way that doesn't get you in trouble, NFL teams, because you could get caught up in that. If we put Deshaun Watson to the side, which if I'm the agent for Jalen Hurts, I'm not doing that, but I just for conversational purpose here, let's put Deshaun Watson to the side. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's the guy I love.
5 years, $230 million, 189 of it guaranteed. Are you telling me that Kyler Murray's better than Jalen Hurts right now? You can't.
No,
The only thing
no.
Kyler Murray's got going for him, he's been around a little bit longer. He's been a starter a little bit longer. As far as production goes, they're in two different neighborhoods. So if Jalen Hurts' agent starts there, said we're starting there and going up, how do you, if you're Howie Roseman, how do you go, well, we can't really do that? Well, you damn well better if you want to keep the player, because he's absolutely better than Kyler Murray right now. And Murray got the contract that he got. And if you don't think that the contracts are comparable and compared to each other, and that's the way the NFL works, then you haven't been paying a good enough attention.
Well, that and that's where I disagreed with Marcus, was his guaranteed money. Like, the guaranteed money is going to be what did you say with Kyler? That's
189 out of 230.
So it starts at 190. A guaranteed, fully guaranteed money. I will say people have started to crap on Kyler too much. He had 3 really good seasons, and then he kind of fell off. So he deserved that contract. I mean, look, last year he had a bad year. The Cardinals had a bad year. And I think he'll bounce back. And I think Gannon's in a good situation from that perspective. He's going to have a quarterback who can play. Now he's got to find out. He's got to get the right offensive mind. He's got to reach him. We all heard that contract stipulation about, certainly indicated he doesn't work hard enough, study hard enough. He's got to figure all that out. But that guy's got talent, Kyler Murray. And he had some big seasons. Rookie of the year. I'm looking up real quick. Yeah, 3,700, 3,900, 3,800, plus all the rushing yards. Yeah, people are crapping on him too much. They are.
Yeah, but again, the only comparison I'm making is he and Jalen Hurts. The season that Jalen Hurts had, and it's only one. You're right, it's one.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts had 1. Kyler Murray had 3. If you compare Kyler Murray's 3 season to Jalen's season, not this past year, but the year before, Kyler Murray's better.
Yeah.
But if you compare what Jalen did this year to any of the 3 seasons that Kyler Murray had, Jalen's on top. So what are you paying for? 3 years of very good, or 1 year for borderline MVP?
Well, you got to pay
for
both.
Kyler Murray hasn't gotten any MVP votes yet. I can pretty much assure you that.
You got to pay for both. I mean, Kyler wasn't overpaid, is what I'm trying to say. So that's the point. That's the cost of doing business at that position. When somebody puts up the numbers he put up, forget about having a season like Jalen, you got to pay. I mean, that's part of it. And they had to do it, and they did it. And now Jonathan Gannon has to figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm not as big a Kyler Murray fan as you are. I didn't necessarily believe he should have been the first overall pick in the draft when he was. He's a very good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. Jalen Hurts, I think, has already been great. Jalen Hurts had a great year. Kyler Murray's had 3 very good years out of 4 in his NFL career. So if he deserved what he deserved, then Jalen Hurts deserves more. And if you're telling me the Eagles are going to shell out more than 230 and almost 80% of it guaranteed, I hope they do. But they haven't. Even with Carson Wentz, they didn't go that far down the road. I hope.
Now here's something, and Tone brings up, and I'll throw this at you. Is it possible that Hurts could get a 3-4 year deal at market rate? That's what Tone said. Marcus mentioned the injury history. Oh yeah, I'm sure the Eagles. No, that he's not going to accept. No way. Why would you?
5 is the minimum. If Kyler Murray, who also is a running quarterback, puts himself at risk, got 5 years from the Arizona Cardinals, why should Jalen Hurts settle for a day less than 5 years from the Eagles?
I mean, look, you're gambling with this type of quarterback. There's no question about it. And but you got to do it. I mean, no, he's not going to take 2 years. I've heard other people say that and say, "Oh, sign him for 2 years."
Yeah.
And no
chance.
Doesn't work like that.
Not a prayer in hell that Jalen Hurts has to settle for a 2 or 3 year deal. None. Zero. I think our buddy in the afternoon, Dan Cilio, said they should be rushing to him with a 3-year, $120 million contract. Yeah, no kidding. And Jalen laughs as they rush to his side and say,
he doesn't have the dumbest agent in the history of the world. I don't know where these people get ideas. I'm not making tone, but other people say 2-3 years. Yeah, that's insanity. No,
and I know,
obviously it's not.
I know you and I have both said this before. I've said it on WIP and other places as well. I hate the phrase. It's an applicable phrase, but I hate it in this situation. Jalen Hurts should give the Eagles a hometown discount. No,
second contract.
He shouldn't.
No.
This is his first time to step up and get the big bucks. He is absolutely within his rights to ask for every penny that he's earned. No discount necessary. Now he finishes out and has great year and a Super Bowl and maybe even an MVP. That next contract, he could do a Tom Brady-like thing and go, yeah, you know, I made a lot of money already. Let me take a little less so they can get me another wide receiver. Oh, that could happen on his third contract.
Yeah.
Not his second contract. Not the first time as a second-round pick. John just told you, he's stepping way up. He's doubling, tripling what he's making next year to $4 million. When backup quarterbacks around the league are getting more than $4 million. No, he is well within his rights to ask for every dollar, every year they can get his hands on. So please don't utter the phrase hometown discount when it comes to Jalen Hurts.
Nope, not on second contracts. Never, ever, ever, ever is anybody giving you a break, a hometown discount.
I'll give you the one that could be. I'm kind of rooting for it, but I don't think it's going to happen, but it could be. James Bradbury. He's on his third contract.
Yeah.
He got paid. The Giants paid him a lot of money to get him away from Carolina. He's on a third deal. If there's a bad team that wants to give him an extra year and an extra couple of $1 million per year, and the Eagles put forth a really competitive market value 2-year deal, and some bad team is offering him 3, could he go, yeah, you know, I could take a couple less $1 million to stay with Philadelphia because I like it there and it's a good team and I like the teammates, I like the coaching staff. That could happen. Bradbury could happen. I'm not telling you it will, but I'm just telling you it's a possibility. Not happening.
Yeah, James has been very honest about this, and James talked again, and I wasn't there because I was traveling, but he talked again about it yesterday, clean out day. No, he's taking the money. Now, the only thing that changes that is if his market value isn't as much as we think it is.
Right.
Now, if other teams say, you know what, we don't play as much zone as they do, not a fit here, and everybody gets together and says, oh, he's not worth this, then I could see your scenario you laid out. He has said consistently, I love playing here, but this is my last chance to make a lot of money. He's gonna, and he's earned it, by the way. And I think there are going to be teams out there that give him 3 years and a lot of money. And he has been very honest. He's going to take the best financial deal. And the only way that changes if that deal doesn't exist. And I could see a little path to that because I do think part of his success, and the reason why I don't agree with people that say Bradbury is better than Slay, might have had a better season, might have been better in this environment, but Slay's asked to do more. And, you know, people around the league know that. They understand that. They understand there's a difference between a corner who's a great press corner and a corner who's a great off-ball corner, who's a great zone corner like Bradbury. And they generally pay the press corners. So I could see a small path to it. But if he gets a big deal, he's taking the big deal. It's not going to be.
All right, let me lay it out for you. We're hoping Mike Gill jumps in with us here in a couple of minutes. 2 years, $24 million, $12 million per from the Eagles, or 3 years, $39 million from Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals?
Oh, he's going to Arizona. He's going to Arizona.
What's he going to win in Arizona with?
First of all, when you have that kind of deal, you're going to have much more guaranteed money with the extra year, fully guaranteed. Second of all, he knows Gannon's going to use him correctly. He just got out of it. Just got out of the guy who gave him a career season. So, I mean, that would be the perfect scenario for James Bradberry. And by the way, I think there's a really good chance that James Bradberry ends up in Arizona.
Yeah.
In fact, if I bet on it.
That's why I went there, Johnny Mac.
I mean, if I bet on it, that's where I think he's going to play next year. I mean, he loves Gannon.
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to be used correctly. So, yeah. But I think that's a no-brainer.
And you like Jonathan. I like Jonathan. I think he's in a no-win situation out there in Arizona. I think when you're offered the gig, you take the gig. He's going to have a tough time turning that program around. But James Bradberry,
I'm not a fan of the ownership out there.
Exactly. James Bradberry would help, though. All right, he's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonough. Coming back, we got our buddy from down the shore from 97.3, the Sports Bash on ESPN Radio. Mike Hill's going to jump in.